Layer's a hard place to live. Real hard. Ain't no soft landing nowhere in here. You either catch on quick, or this place chew on you slow. This life don't hand out directions. Just wait. Just pressure sitting on your chest every morning. Folks think trouble kicked the door in. Nah. Trouble slick. Trouble got perfume on. Smiling at you like it already know your name, already in the room when you walk in. That's the slings and arrows, you don't hear them fly, you just feel that sting and wonder where it came from. Whole layer wrapped in dark mystery. Old magic in the walls. Wizards whispering deals they don't keep. Dragons watching from the shadows, counting bodies like loose change. Succubus love looks sweet at first, then you wake up lighter than you went to sleep. Heart tax, soul pawn. It's war out here. Quiet war. Betrayal wears silk and smile real nice. Same cats break bread with you. Be the one selling your name 2 streets over. This whole thing a stone cold trip, baby. No fair fights, no refunds. So whatever shield you walk around with, it better be battle tested. Not shiny. Not shiny. Not fresh out the armory, I'm talking chip paint. Bent edges. Blood you couldn't wash off even if you tried. Cause the layer don't care how fly you look in your armor. They care what's still holding when the smoke drifts off. If you still here tomorrow, still breathing, still standing on your square, then yeah, you's a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Layer. Hello, Miss Candy Cane, Cell, Almond Eyes, and her brother of a certain age. Let's get right to it. First, the background music. And he say, new. And I know Cell know how to do it. I know Raw know how to do it. Let me see. We're going with this one. These are cool. I'm gonna change them out. Let me see. Maybe yes. All right. Now we can move forward. We're going to start off with the Cat Williams talking the big boy interview. How else? We're looking over here. Got the letters all wrong. But anyway. Turn the music down a little bit more. Okie dokie.
That's not to begin. Yes.
Hey man, so we here at a new year.
Mhm.
And do you do resolutions or anything like that, or you just kind of don't do that stuff?
I do weekly. Like I'm constantly in the midst of a resolution.
You work?
I don't do resolutions typically. I just let it flow. Let it flow. Look at Big Boy. Shout out to Big Boy and the massive weight loss.
You know something right now.
At all times, I'm trying to refine this thing, and just get better. And that's where being, messed up is so helpful, because you got so much, I got so much to fix. Like, this is wonderful.
Yeah, there's no such thing called perfect, huh? Or when you say like, no, I'm done. I'm fine now.
Yeah. It's pretty perfect where it is right now.
Right. But you also know, Cat, how to appear and disappear. Is that by design?
Yeah, he does know how to appear and disappear. But I looked at some of these specials. He said he had 19 of them. I seen, just got through seeing one. That's a brand new one on there. So it says 2021. The things that's special about specials is that you got to go for a year and practice that material, fine tune it, and make sure it's bam, 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 bam. Some of these specials, not only Cat, Mike Epps, who all I see, Kev, the last Chris Rock, these specials ain't been special. The last person I saw that really had me laughing, and I ain't seen them do nothing too recent, is Lavelle Crawford. Lavelle was bussing. I watch Nate Jackson do crowd work. That'd be funny. And I typically don't like the crowd work. Like, I didn't really like Martin on Def Jam with his crowd work because it was all like roasting. I didn't really like D.L. Hughley with his crowd working. Once again, roasting. But yeah, Lavelle Crawford. Michael Chi, but I haven't seen him do one recently. The last Red Grant one I saw, but I haven't seen him do one recently. Let me see. Michael Che, Red Grant, Lavelle Crawford. Oh, Black Ron. That's the most recent ones I can think of. Earthquake. I don't know what was going on there. There's a few of them that you be waiting. Oh, you be like, this gonna be the one. It don't be that. And that last one he did, I think it was called Woke. But we're gonna check this one out.
Time for you to appear and disappear?
As a hunter, it's part of how it goes. Is that the prey has to be given enough time to relax and to feel like it's okay. And
Come back
they
out.
can maybe say something or do something, and
But talking with you also, Cat.
Yeah, you gotta wait a minute. Then it's about what the so-called prey says. What is Steve Harvey going to say? What is Cedric going to say? And then again, with the comedians. Steve don't do stand up no more. I ain't seen Cedric do stand up no more. Where is all the comedians at? When is the last time Martin had a special? Let's continue though. He's calling Cedric the Entertainer. What's my boy name? We ain't seen him do no stand up in forever either. The one that always do the college majors. Ricky Smiley, we ain't seen him, but Ricky, Cedric, Steve Harvey, everybody he called out in the last whatever. Who came back and said something that was like, ooh wee. And Faison, I ain't seen Faison do no stand up in a while.
Are you aware of everything? And the reason why I ask you that is, even though if you know how to appear and disappear, right?
Right.
It seemed like you still hear things and see things just from the conversation that we had before we sat down.
That's part of the disappearance. Like I'm saying, I'm not disappearing to twiddle my thumbs. I'm disappearing to do the behind the scenes work, the inner work, the shadow work.
Yeah, you got to do all of that. That's what you're supposed to be doing for that year. Taking people's cell phones, whatever else. I'm trying out material, living life to, have fresh material. Yeah, sit down and like the Houdini say, last night I had a long talk with myself. Yeah, you got to tell yourself to get it together sometime. Because everything is at you, especially if your shit is not together. Aging gracefully is what they call it, because your body gonna start breaking down eventually. Anyhow.
Work necessary to pull off what it is I'm trying to pull off against, at times, supernatural competition. So, we stay in the gym.
When you say the supernatural, because there's certain things, man, that you you created a path that I feel is a blueprint to the way a lot of people do things now. Because when we first sat down, probably 2 decades ago, easy. The world was who's booking you, where you going, what production company you're with, who's doing your shows. And now we've seen the business move in a whole different direction. But you were already doing that, where when your shows went off, your name appeared in the credits, not just as the person, as the talent, but you made sure that either you put up your own money, executive produced it. Why was that important to you years ago?
My God is just so faithful. Like I already knew, like, you know how they say, know your worth? Like I knew it. I knew my actual worth. And it can be a little more depressing if that's the case, if you don't achieve it, But I had long faith and I believed in the product. I believed in the conversation that was being had. So to have paid for, produced, did all 12 of the first specials like that, that's because like this is my product. Like this is the best thing about me here that I'm selling. So that's an easy sell. Because I'm at least, if nothing else, I'm trying my best. Yeah.
But we get this thing when everybody's looking to the right.
Mm-hmm.
There's few that come from the left. And you're one of those that kind of, when we were all looking to the right, you came from the left. Even when I fast forward to where we are now, this is year 32 for me in radio, right?
Right.
And I remember years ago, people used to say, oh, podcasts. man, they doing a podcast because they can't get a radio show. You know what I'm saying? Podcasts are like what we call, oh, that's the graveyard. And now when you fast forward, it's the podcast that's, podcasters making the money. Podcasters are leading the way, aside from, some of us great radio personalities. But that's one of them things too. And the reason why I bring that up is because at one point, you were probably looking to others as, man, what is he doing, man? He might as well just get with HBO Showtime, any marquee. Were you feeling that early on when people thought, like, did they feel you couldn't get the deal? Or
well, I don't know what you're about to say, but yeah, that's what it was. You either had to be on Def Jam or Comic View on that what's his name? Tom Joyner Show Cruise. That Sinbad cruise. Well, Sinbad was having dates on vacations. So it'd be singers and comedians. They're in Montego Bay. They're in Jamaica. It's like 20 acts.
why you're not with such and such?
I don't know, Big. All I've ever done is win.
Right.
I'm just a winner. And, you know, unfortunately, at times, that requires you to take some punches, you know, for people to think, oh, he's losing. And then you win. It's a wonderful existence.
Do you do things to prove?
Let me see a couple times when Cat was going through it. Who was Cat feud? Because I remember in the beginning, they used to arrest Cat Williams a lot. They kept saying he was on drugs and all this other stuff. Oh, I think Faison was into it with Cat. Loudly, outwardly. Faison. I remember the Steve Harvey thing. I think him when Steve and him got into it, he's the one that made Steve quit doing stand-up. Oh yeah, Danny, you had Ali Sadiq. That Ali Sadiq thing is more recent. They be bumping heads, man.
Cat Williams, right?
Oh, what's going on, Antwan?
Or do you do things to kind of prove others wrong?
It's a great question.
Thank you. You ever been asked that before?
No, never. No. And that is all of the questions thus far. Like, you're really great at what you do. That's why I'm here. But like, I care what people think, but only in the past tense. So I only care about what they think about what I've already done. Not I would allow them to influence what I'm going to do next. And I don't have to prove anything to me. I'm just trying to do the best job that I can do, however it goes.
Are you critical in your own work?
Yes, but not overly. Like, I give myself enough room to make mistakes because I know I'm not perfect. And I've written these 14 hours of stand-up comedy. So it's great for me to even be in the position. I clearly know when I did a 8 instead of a 10, but I'm going for a 10 every time.
What keeps you on the road now, even with the new tour that's going on? Like, what keeps you on fire? What keeps you wanting to get in front of people when it's so easy to kind of like mail it in? And you're in a position where you're in competition with yourself. You know what I'm saying? But what keeps you to where you say, man, I need to get back out there. I need to get on the road.
The ticket sales. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm still in the same conversation, you know, that one conversation since I started stand up. I'm still in.
Yeah, for the love of money. The ticket sales. And then when they be talking about he look out for almost everybody that's on that tour with him. Melanie Camacho, Red Grant. He be taking probably about 4 people on tour with him. I've been doing this whole time. True.
In that conversation. So every time they see me, I'm just picking up on that conversation that we last had, and now, you know, and it's just been an honor because I really, whether I'm the best comedian in the world is debatable. Like, I don't even make it on some list of top 25, but to the people that like me, there's nothing like me. And so I bear that in mind at all times, and I'm always trying to give them the best experience possible if they come out and see me. Or if I'm in a movie part that is only 14 lines, I'm just trying to figure out how do I make this 14 lines resonate to somebody, you know? Because
I know very well.
I'm just thankful to have this as a job, you know?
And he's always touring, selling out pretty big situations. Oh yeah, the last time I saw Tommy Davidson, he was hilarious. It's still hilarious.
Did you know when you came, because of course people come out to so-called Hollywood because it's the dream. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you came out to Los Angeles,
Yeah.
did you know that, because for one, we're here and it's hard to penetrate Hollywood anyway. When you say if you give me a few lines, you're gonna make it your own.
Right.
And we've seen that with you time and time again where you don't even have to be the star cat, but you can, people will walk out and be like, man, he fucking killed that. When you leave home plate to come here, there's absolutely no turning back for you. Did you know that this was gonna happen for you?
Only the good part. Yeah. I knew all the good parts were gonna happen. That's
Take
what
the
faith is about. Like, I can remember being places and just being like, you have no idea who you just walked past, ma'am.
Oh shit.
You know? Just because I believed, you know? And I had been in a lifelong conversation with God about this. And in my dreams, I could see people clapping. I just didn't know what it was I was doing, you know? So I just wanted to find my purpose. And then, bam, I found stand-up. And so.
Shout out for finding your purpose. Some of us never do. We just go alone and get alone and try to fit in.
Let me tell you what's crazy about that, man, is with us growing up, it's my mom, well, rest in peace to my mom, and 7 kids, right?
Yeah.
And there was hardships, there was bouts of homelessness, stuff like that, right? And I remember we were living in a motel, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I said, one day I want to buy you a house so we'll never be evicted again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me, Kat, and she said, I know you will. She could have said anything like, you know, we got rent, daily, please, Kurt, stop this. You know what I'm saying? It's real things going on.
Right.
But when she said, I know you will, it put something in me. Yeah. And I would tell my partners, my friends, I'd be like, man, I'm gonna be famous. I would literally sit down and write autographs. And it would be like, for some reason, I always said best wishes. So it'd be like to Cat Williams, best wishes, and it'd be Kurt, right?
Right.
And so from that point on, even when my friends told me, they said, man, if you make it, I would always say win. Like I
Right.
knew that I was
Right.
going to make it. Then there's life shit that happens where, you kind of, lose a little bit, but your eyes are very focused. So I understand what you're talking about when you say somebody walk past you, you're like, you don't even know who you just walked past.
Right.
And as long as you believe it, then and I know it sounds cheesy when people say, oh, you believe it, you can achieve it. But that's some of the realest shit in the world, bro. Like
You need systems and people. Some people can do it all by themselves. It's like the beginning of Poetic Justice when Janet is talking about nobody, and I mean nobody, can make it alone. You need systems and people. A lot of people was given opportunities, and then they took advantage of the opportunities because they have an ecosystem. If you don't have an ecosystem, you don't have systems, and you don't have people, yeah, you're drowning. And you got to be able to learn new stuff.
if you believe it, like you could really achieve it. And I feel like you were one that didn't sacrifice certain shit to get to where you are today.
No, but you do want to be in a position where they want you to. You see?
Right.
You want to be able to tell Diddy no. You see?
Piece of shit.
That's the position you want to be in.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
In the room.
You want to get all the
not
way
all the way
as
in the
far
room.
as your jurisdiction will allow you to go to be like, so say again now.
What we doing? Nah. Hey, Ken,
Right.
do you think you make people nervous?
Not dumb people. I don't make. Yeah. I'm saying any.
Do we believe that Cat Williams makes people nervous? And he said not dumb people, so smart people? Because I think with all these big things that's happened in whatever time, that all the things that people thought was going to happen didn't happen. Oh, Diddy's wash. No, we not. No, he not. And like I was saying about dude the other day, when that man came on and said he feared for his life, and then, he don't got no charges, so yeah, let's not put a jacket on him. He just said some stuff that was crazy, but that's what comedians do. They push boundaries. They say wild things. So especially me, and I look at dark comedy. So I looked at Patrice. I looked at what's the white guy name? Was in Car Wash, came out as a clean comedian at first, just like Richard Pryor. What's his name? Anyway, they do extremely dark comedy. And I remember Patrice being on the news one time defending Don Imus and Don Imus co-host McGirt. McGirt used to put on Klan hoods, and he's the one that said something about nappy-headed hoes. And when Patrice is on the news with that woman from Now, the host of the show said, did you hear the joke they said about a bum graping Michelle Obama? And what Patrice said was that some jokes are going to bomb. That's pretty much what happened with Corey. He just said some shit that bombed and didn't go over right. And I should know that better than anybody. That's why I could laugh at dark humor like that. Like TK Kirkland, get on stage and act a fool. Corey always been acting a fool like that. Like I said, I laughed at that joke at the Shaq thing. And I do know how they tear black folks down like they did, Jonathan Majors and whatever else. So yeah, to just come out and say, oh, he did this. No, he didn't do the act. He talked about that. And sometimes when people do that, it feels to me like they be defending the act. But then you got to look at it from all perspectives. You know, I'll be talking about, I look at things objectively, right? Some of the things he said sound like real life events, but that's how comedy's supposed to be. But yeah, Patrice said in that news thing, yeah, that joke can be funny. But the thing is the attempt at being funny. Now, this is why they were talking about trying to get Opie and Anthony a pass, because Anthony Cumia said a bunch of racist sounding stuff. This is why they try to get Don Imus and them a pass. Once again, Opie and Anthony was on every day doing comedy. Don Imus is on every day was doing comedy. Howard Stern was on every day doing comedy. Even though he got writers and whatever else, they're going to make attempts at doing jokes that to some people is going to be offensive and racist and you know, even sound like Corey's jokes. So no, comedians got to have the leeway to try to attempt to be funny, but some jokes just won't hit. But he got to stop talking about these arguments to get back to making the show funny again. Darlene get back to doing what Darlene do. Craig get back doing what Craig do, and get back to the jokes. Because I don't see too many people that's still trying to fight with him. But Poetic Flacco, Joe Budden need to quit it because, yeah, Joe Budden's, you fought Esther Baxter, you fought Tahiri. We didn't see all the women you fight over the years. Same thing with Charlemagne the Guy. We know about the Monk's Corner incident with the Spanish flying with her. It's too many people get, like my girl over there, T say, a lot of these folks are just corrupt. But the man ain't been in jail for none of these things. Yeah, we not trying to put jackets on people. You got to let a comedian be a comedian. Same thing when we finally listened to the Diddy stuff. He just seemed like a man that plays for the alphabet community.
Anybody that would be nervous around me, that's very specific.
Hey,
But I'm saying,
TNKC.
make no mistake, I'm a predator.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're doing when you sit down? Now, I heard that you're only going to do probably 6 podcasts or 6 interviews. And then are you done with having these conversations?
What up,
or would
LA?
that-
No, this
Wow.
is it. This is it.
This one?
Yeah, this is the last one.
This is it?
Yeah.
And don't tell me this shit. Then you pop up somewhere else and you like, wait, hold on, no, this was it. So this is it.
I meant for me and you.
Right. this is our last
No,
one.
right. This is
So,
Yeah.
so this is our last one. But you know what's crazy, dude, is that you're very peculiar. You know who you want to talk to. And that's why when
Right,
he came up
right.
and it was like, oh man, Cat, bro, literally, I had a doctor's appointment today that I can't get back in until like March. A specialist flew out here. I was like, man, you're going to have to fly that motherfucker back to the house because I need to sit down and have this conversation.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna think of something.
Right.
I'm a,
And the reason why I ask you, man, are people afraid of you? Because you don't have the Hollywood strings that some people have. Like, you're not worried about losing a such and such deal. You know,
Well, that's how a lot of people play it. That's how Patrice O'Neal used to talk. That's how Corey talked. They want to get it from the grassroots. They don't want to have those ties to all the weird stuff. Like the ties to YouTube can be that kind of way. You got to play on all these lines supposedly, but it's other people on here that can say and do whatever they want to do, and they don't have no issues. None whatsoever. All they got to do is just keep on talking. Keep on talking. We've seen Cat go through some hard times. He got into it with them Dipset people. He got into it with that little kid. They kept arresting him over and over again. We didn't see them earlier years was rough.
worried about losing a part. You're not, so you don't have these, the tie downs that some people
What up,
have.
studio?
How freeing is that and it's not about saying something, but knowing that you can say or do what you feel like you wanted from a guy that has a contract with iHeart?
I'm a public official.
What up,
That
SD?
just applies to me. And this means I try to stick as close to the center as I possibly can so that I can make the observations
What up, Taylor
of the
Bell?
left and the right official.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like the two political parties are too far left and too far right. So, like I said, if a person was into it, I would probably be more like a moderate. That's somebody that's more towards the center. Like even in the space, when we listen to the women be extreme and we listen to the men be extreme, they're both coming from a deficit and a place of pain, it sounds like to me. These are the so-called, what they call non-select people. And then people will come and try to talk to me like I'm a non-select individual now in current time, but how many times you need to be selected? It's good to have somebody there with you when you get older, but a lot of y'all folks ain't even comfortable with being alone for 2 seconds. Y'all think y'all be saying stuff that be triggering to me, and y'all really be saying stuff that be encouraging to me. Like they said, well, what happened with the channel? It's gone. It's gone, baby. It's gone. So I got to start from scratch. And all I want from people is the same thing I ever wanted. When you can, please do. When you can't, I understand. But shout out to this man. And yeah, this here is a hobby until it take off. And if it is a hobby, you want to start young. So, maybe in a couple years or something else, your channel shoot up and then you got it popping. And it still shouldn't be just dependent on. This is like for a couple dollars, for a few dollars more, like Clint Eastwood.
That's what you said is what we just allow them to say so that they'll feel better and go back to work. There's nobody's contract that precludes them from telling the truth. Most of them are liars and bums, and that's why they be.
Yeah, that is Cat Williams getting older. But yeah, that's Cat Williams. And he sounds like him, but he's trying to talk spiritual. And some dudes, I think that, I don't know if it's Cat, I think it's performative. When you hear that brother that's talking like this and very slow and repeats itself and says, and calls people sister, and it's sometimes it sounds performative, but listen. When I was in school, I remember debate clubs. I remember speech classes. I remember they would get at the podium and debate for and against. It's where they learn the gestures and everything else. So by the time you see them in their late 30s, early 40s, and they get into politics, that's a well-crafted actor that's going to get into politics for a certain amount of years. And when they get out of politics, they're going to be rich. How, Sway? So where's all your money? They got it. But yeah, this man is getting money from the people. And 5150 is just like 85 South. That's their base right there. That's their base right there. If you stimulate those people, those are the people that's going to come out and buy out your shows.
As they do. I just make it clear that I'm free to, go past whatever the ramifications are afterwards, only because I believe that whatever it was that I said about you, no matter how harsh it was also the truth. Right. So you can spend.
I think you have to be alone to be comfortable with yourself. So when you come to other people, you don't come as a burden. Like people talk the gangbang and stuff and all other stuff on here, and they say, "Well, you said you was here, and you said you was from here, and then you said no." I live between my mother, my father, and then the streets. So my mother was in East Oakland, my father was in West Oakland. Now, sometime when I wasn't around my father, I would be at his mother's house. She lived in deep East Oakland. She lived in Sobrani Park. And in them places, when you live in there, you're around them people. And if some stuff jump off wherever you at, you support the people that you with. So that's why I say it's people from here that say, call me this, because they know me from my grandmother's house. It's people from here that call me this. And then with my father, when I first got around him, he wasn't married yet. So there was times we was living in a van, and then he did property management for my great grandmother, and we lived in some of her properties. And one of those properties was on 40th and West. It was I want to say it was it was a duplex with both apartments on the top and the garage is on the bottom. And the back of the garages was utility rooms. And one of those utility rooms is where I used to sleep at. So that's where I said when I was super young, I used to I was 10. I used to be outside and those older kids would come and get me and they would take me over there to North Oakland. To like 50s. Gaskill, over there by Children's Hospital. So there was times when I was alone completely when I was younger. There was times when I was left with whatever random girlfriend he had at the time. Because when I got older and we would go places, it would always be this woman and that woman and this woman and that. A lot of the different ladies. I used to watch when you was a baby. But yeah, it's because he got his own bread and his own tours and everything else that he can come along and talk like this. Because what you gonna do? You got to catch him on his tour. He don't have to be seen.
Time barking back at me, or you can fix it. Don't be mad at the ref. I'm saying you traveled.
Right. Hey, when you did Club Shay Shay, we haven't talked since then, even before then or after.
Right.
When he said, "Come on, Cat," and he was like, "No, man, nobody's going to want to do my show." Do you remember what you told him?
I told him lots of people were.
You said they're all coming.
Right. Yeah.
And when you look at it, did you know when you sat down that was going to be one of the biggest viewed podcast YouTube episodes with 90 plus million and counting?
I knew that.
How could you know? How could you know? So let me see. The other ones that's like a cat would be Corey. Who else is like that? I don't know. Cat, Corey, but when I think about them talking, they all talk like black folks talk. So you can get a Faison Love sitting there, he'll go off on everybody. You can get Corey in there, he'll go off on everybody. You can get Ari Spears in there, he'll go off on a bunch of folks. A lot of these folks do this. Comedians, they don't really mess with him, blah, blah, blah. the industry and what's wrong with it. How you need to be more self-sufficient and independent. The other people like him is, like I said, 85 South, 5150. Only difference is I don't really see Cat doing a podcast type of thing. He just never stops touring. And he rarely sits down for these kind of things.
I could make the most out of the opportunity. And that if I did it correctly, based upon the research that I had done on what makes the algorithm work, I had determined that you had to do this particular thing 17 times consecutively. And it will require every time the person watching went, that's not true. It would have to mean that they would pause it and then go check real quick and then come back. It required a lot, but it was written to do the maximum amount of damage possible. And then it was scaled back. And
because the one of the responses to Cat was Chappelle. Chappelle was like, why you name all these black folks? That was Chappelle's take on it. He was in a room with I want to say he was in a room with Deion Cole and D-Ray Davis, Dave Chappelle. And I believe they both was defending Cat.
Knockout punches were taken out, just leaving the jabs, so that whoever I talked about, I didn't completely blow their spot up, but I did pull their coattail. Because when you think about it, like, they're not going to believe that you're the mafia don unless you go in the room, take out all 5 families at once, and walk out, and then walk around unscathed afterwards. Like, that's really the only way anybody would believe it. Yeah. Otherwise, it is.
And so what we saw, those were the jabs.
Yeah.
Hey man, you know what's wild about that shit? I had like nothing with you, no beef, no nothing. I watched that motherfucker and I was like, shit. I'm sitting up here like, man, did he get in contact with my ex or what the fuck? You know, like, I think a lot of people, Cat, was on, and I don't, I go home to my wife, all kind of shit, but I'm like, everybody was watching that shit like, what's next? And the crazy shit about it too, Cat, I don't know if you didn't have a tour, you're always doing something, but there was no promotion. Like, even when I went to your social media, right? Usually when somebody break the internet or somebody got
that was all funny though. That was the difference between when Monique came on there, because she just seemed upset. Nobody was, because everything he said about the person, we understood what he was saying, but it was funny also. It was funny also. Matter of fact, back in that time when Faison and him was getting into it, they had weapons involved and everything else. This was Suge Knight was out. He was like rapping and Dipset. It was a whole lot going on with Cat.
all these views.
Right.
They got clips on their pages. They got some agenda like, yeah, come check me out. Y'all didn't see nothing. Wait till you come and see such and such tour. I went to your page, Cat. It was nothing.
Yeah, I remember you telling Summer Walker.
Yeah, it was nothing. And you see, even with Summer Walker, I don't even remember that, right? That's why I told you hear everything. You know what I'm saying?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Well, she just brought back the Summer Walker shit, so that's not allegedly.
Right.
But yeah, it was like you were promoting nothing.
Those are the flexes that you can make if you're not bought and paid for, you can do stuff like that, you know? And it keeps it clear, you know? Because
what people want from comedians is the opposite of what he's doing right now. That other interview was funny. He did the same interview months before, and he had gave it to Willie D. But in that interview, the alphas was like funking, because Willie D, you know, he got his energy that he have. Real one, blah, 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 blah. But Cap was in there, real one also, but the energies was off. Same interview, talking about the same stuff, but the energies was off, and the jokes wasn't. This is what you got to be able to do as a host. This is what you have to be able to do as the comedian. My best interviews that I've watched is when the person is deadpan, the host take over. When the guest got energy, you step out the way as the host. The person I saw do that the best was Arsenio, Craig Ferguson, and Conan O'Brien. And I like Letterman. And the dude from the Man Show, he all right too, but no, that it was Arsenio, Craig Ferguson, Conan.
I thought it was necessary and that it would in time be beneficial as well. And thankfully, that's how it turned out. Yeah.
And then also over there on Club Shay Shay, the alcohol was flowing.
Anybody catch a stray?
Say again?
Did anybody catch a stray bullet?
No, sir. No, there are no strays.
Anything that you said that you felt like, damn, that you regretted?
I often regretted taking the headshots out, but you know, but again, this is probably 2 years later, we're still discussing it, you know? And that, as a predator, like, that's the most you can ask for. Like, if we have an altercation and you walk different for the rest of your life, like, that's something too, you know?
Yeah, this one right here is far too somber. But shout out to the cat. Cat in the Hat. Let's see, we're gonna do this. Boom, 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 boom. Bup, 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 bup. We are going here. Do. And from Cat, we're going to go to Clifton Powell. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. We're going from that to Clifton Powell. Now here we go. Clifton Powell. He's been confused to be Eddie Murphy, Keith Washington. Clifton Powell is Pinky from the Friday series. Clifton Powell was in Menace to Society.
You know, it's been a long day, but I'm here.
What you been up to, man? I know before the interview you was telling me about man, you lost 10 million in your divorce, bro.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things that I did a seminar yesterday, a group for one of my dear friends. Her name is Tressa, out of DC. She's a producer. So we were talking to the producing groups and the writers and trying to give them the ins and outs of the business. And one of the things that I try to do is when I do lectures, I have one slated hopefully to do at Norfolk State. And I want to take it around to the HBCUs, evening with Clifton Powell. And what I want to talk about is all the things that nobody helped me understand when I started in the business. So one of the panelists asked me, what's the biggest mistake I made? I think the biggest mistake I made in the beginning was getting married. Not so much because marriage is bad, but trying to build my career inside of my marriage. It's simply impossible. The divorce rate in Hollywood is almost 97% amongst entertainers. So, and not that I wouldn't have married my ex-wife or not have my kids. The best thing that came out of that were my kids. But I just, being an entertainer, and I'll give you an example. In 1979, myself, Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Angela Bassett, we were all poor actors who were just entering into a very difficult business. And nobody ever told me and taught me anything about Hollywood or how to be an entertainer or be in the entertainment business. It's a little different when you're in New York and you don't necessarily make it to the big national level. But when you leave New York, like we all did, only left New York, not necessarily come out to Hollywood to be famous actors. We were in love with the work, but you don't make a lot of money. So when you come out to Hollywood, the next thing you know, you do rock. And then from rock, you do Menace to Society. And then from Menace, you do Dead Presidents. And then I went on a 35-year run, you know, I did Rush Hour, Next Friday, Phantoms, Deep Rising, and all the movies that people have Ray and all the movies that people have seen me in. And inside of that has its own, the trajectory in the arts has its own isolated energy. And it takes all of your time and all of your energy. Barely have enough time for your wife and your kids. And I didn't understand that. And so when I was married at the height of my career, making a lot of money.
Because it sounded like you was young. Y'all was all super young. That's another thing people don't talk about. People nowadays expect kids to be rich already. You 18, you don't make 100,000 because they see kids making that kind of money. They see the Kai Cenats, they see the Aiden Rosses, and they're calling them old now. The DDGs, the McQueens, they call them McQueen old.
I was out of my house maybe 80% of the time. And no marriage can survive if you're not giving it attention. And then there's all the other temptations on the road, the women, the gambling, the drinking, the partying. And before you know it, you're in divorce court. And that's really what happened. I survived it, you know, because money is amazing. But if you're not happy, money is not good. So I don't blame my ex-wife. I don't blame anyone. I just, with my journey, trying to help young entertainers understand, build your career first and then focus on marriage and children and things like that. And I had an outside life, you know, and I'll tell, and again, I told the panel yesterday, I have a movie that I'm developing about relationships. And one of the things that I like to talk to women about and men is that men have a hormone. And of course, I didn't understand this before I got married. Men have a hormone inside of their brain called dopamine. It controls the pleasure center it's in the pleasure center of your brain. And that's drugs, sex, gambling, smoking, partying and rock and roll. And I did all of that. I didn't do drugs. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I'm sitting here right now. But I partied, I gambled, I had a lot of women, and I was never home. And it's very difficult because women have a hormone in their brain called oxytocin, which is the cuddle hormone. So intimacy is personal for women. It's emotional. It's not personal for men unless you fall in love with someone. And I didn't understand any of that. So one of the things that I want to do with my lecture or the evening with Clifton Powell is break all that down for young entertainers, because back in my day,
they know all that if they ever looked at this channel. Not just coke, heroin, some of them I don't remember though. Coke, heroin. And again, that was 34 years ago. See, y'all got to tell the whole story when y'all tell a story. It probably went on for like 6 years. It was over with in 92. So you're talking about 34 years ago. Dun, 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 dun. Ba, 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 ba. Would you mind? 'Cause
nobody guides you through. There are no mentors to call, because now we all competition. So that's, how I take my spin on it. I got 2 beautiful children out of it, and I love my babies, and I wouldn't trade it, but I wouldn't do it the same way.
Wow. Let me ask you this. You'll be the perfect person to ask this. Do you think the financial side of divorce is fair for both parties?
That's really a great question. That's a very difficult question, because I think the way the law is written, depending on what state you're married in,
the way the laws are written, what state you're in, how much are we involved in politics, and that it shouldn't destroy either party. It should be amicable and even. They had these divorces where they take the person's car, they personal stuff. Nah, this got to be fair. If I make $100 million and they take 50 million in taxes, that means I got $50 million. If she take 25 and I take 25, we'll be all right.
It's 50-50, and LA is 50-50. So when you go into marriage, you're basically entering into a business situation, and everybody has to uphold their part. So it's fair in the sense that if my ex-wife was the breadwinner, she would have had to give me alimony. If she kept the kids, then she has to give me alimony and not child support. If I get the kids, she has to pay me child support if she's the breadwinner. If I'm the breadwinner and I get the kids, then, I have to pay her alimony because I have the kids and there's no child support because they're with me. So it's fair. I mean, I know females, I have a couple of female friends who are paying child support and alimony. So I think you have to understand that marriage is on top of the love, it's a contract. And if you don't uphold your end of the bargain, then you're going to get a problem. You're going to have a money problem if you don't have it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, in the sense, because a lot of people say that it's unfair to the men. So, I don't know.
Well, I gotta say this. I'm a little different. If you make a baby, you gotta take care of your baby for 21 years at least. So if you want to stop making babies, then put your condom on. That's as simple as that. My ex-wife didn't make me marry her. I come out of a traditional Christian kind of background, and I felt like that was the right thing to do. I didn't understand the business part of it, but I wasn't a good husband. I can sit here and tell you I wasn't a good husband. men are not monogamous. Women will never want to believe that, not because we want to be, but because we have dopamine in our brain. And then when you put entertainer on top of it, popular, famous, however you want to consider me, it comes with a lot of outside attention, especially from women. So I would sit here and say, you know, I wasn't a great husband. If I could do it again, if and when I marry Marquita, I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be disciplined. And I've learned how to handle.
And if that's his home, he don't look like he doing bad. That's a very nice place. He got a panel that's nothing but glass. So it's like one enormous window to the ceiling is broken up with a little hardwood. Big old patio door. He looked like he's in an amazing place. It looks like that's someone home.
All the outside distractions. So if the woman is the breadwinner, she's going to end up paying. If the man is the breadwinner, he has to pay. It's the way it goes. There's nothing you can, if you're the breadwinner, you can hide money if you want. But when you get inside of a divorce proceeding, you are under a guideline. So if you try to move money or hide money, you can get locked up for that. So if you get married tomorrow and your wife makes 300,000 and you make $1 million, then take 500,000 and give it to your mother or put it in an account that's, you know, that the federal government can't touch. And then you go into your proceedings, but then you got to open your books when you go into your proceedings. But it's ways to get around that. I can't talk about this on the podcast. If you got a great friend, you can say, listen, bro, or you got a, you know, older son, you say, hey, hold this 5,000 or 500,000. But once you are inside of that divorce proceeding or injunction, so to speak, then if you start moving money around, you can get in trouble for that. Trust me, I thought about all of it.
Have you ever turned down a role that could have boosted your career, but you turned it down because it went against what you believe in?
Judging from my resume, I haven't turned down much. The thing that I want people to understand is a lot of the smaller movies that you see me in probably was a friend of mine or a producer who hired me when I had no money, or they come highly recommended. I've been offered some different types of roles that I didn't take. I did a TV series where they wanted me to play the neighborhood coon, and I walked off of that. But most of the time when I read a script, if I like it, I do it, you know? I don't let when you get to a certain level, when you get to my level and above, your agents kind of tell you what to do. And I don't let anybody tell me what to do. I've worked my ass off and I do what I want to do. Sometimes, like, say, for instance, I'm going to speak on this movie because I caught a lot of flack for doing this movie, Women That Aren't Loosed. Now, how I got that role, and please, everybody that's listening, understand, I never read that script. Reuben Cannon, who put me in Selma, Lord Selma, he put me in Buffalo Soldiers, and he put me in Why Do Fools Fall in Love. He called me on a Thursday and said, hey, Cliff, I need you tomorrow for this role. My main actor dropped out. I need you. And I came in because that's one of my partners. And he hired me when I had nothing. He saw the talent. And so when I read the script, when I got to the set, and when I read the part about the little girl, I made them restructure that. I said, I don't think it's necessary for me to have to touch that little girl. Let's just close the door and we hear, you know, maybe her scream or something. I'm not doing that. Now, on the flip side, I wouldn't have taken that role if I read the script because I have a daughter and I know how that is perceived. But after we did the movie, we went around to a lot of places and had panel discussions to help women who have been physically, mentally, and spiritually abused. So something good came out of that, but that's not a role I would have picked for myself.
So they wanted you to play a neighborhood coon. Tell me more about that.
It was a TV series. It's a TV series called Simon on the WB. I think it was the WB network. I can't remember. But the week before the show came out, they were scanning all the new shows. And in the Ebony Junior magazine, they said Clifton Powell starring as the neighborhood coon in a new TV show called Simon. And so when I got there and they wanted me to do some coonish type things, I said I wasn't going to do it. So I met with the big white guy who ran the show and had about 7 shows on. And he basically said, I bet you will do this. He said, I bet you would do this movie if it was a William Friedkin film. Now, if anybody want to know who William Friedkin is, he directed The Exorcist. So basically he said, I bet you would do this role if it was a William Friedkin movie. I said, I bet you I wouldn't. And I think I was fired before I even left my seat, but they still had to pay me $70,000 for the 7 episodes. But I would have never taken that role for myself.
I know when I interviewed Fred Joe Starr, he told me that he turned down the role in The Wire because they wanted him to kiss a man.
I got a audition maybe a year ago from Mr. Black. I don't think he read the script. So I read the script and I called him. I said, this guy that's the gangster, he has this guy named Raphael or somebody hanging around the bar all the time. I said, who is that guy? So he called casting and he said, well, they kind of like lovers. I'm like, that's not gonna work out. I'm not homophobic. I've gotten a lot of flack for saying something in the heat of the moment. I'm not homophobic, but I have no problems with transgender people or gay people. I don't care what color they are. I have no problems with, I'm not sexist or racist or any of that. But I have boundaries for me as a person, which makes me uncomfortable or comfortable that I just don't cross. And it's not militant. It's just that certain things I'm just not comfortable with. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm not comfortable with kissing a man, whether I got to do it for a role. I commend actors who can handle that inside of their psyche. I'm not wired that way. And that's just me. And I know that, like I played a few roles where like Sybil Brand, where I had to kind of be brutal with women. I would never take one of those roles again. And I enjoyed that movie, but that guy was brutal, but that's not something I would seek out for myself now.
I mean, you've been doing movies for decades. I mean, why would they offer you something like that at this point in your career?
I don't think they think, well, this guy was the guy was a gangster. So it's,
Denzel just got through playing the gay king in Gladiator 2. Why wouldn't they offer it to him at this age? They have older people from the alphabet community, so you can still be this thing. I believe that older white guy name was Nathan Lang, who played a woman in the movie. Age has nothing to do with it. It's Hollywood.
After you see me play Cuddy, I became like the #1 go-to gangster guy in Hollywood, but there's certain boundaries that I have, I've never seen a gay gangster, but I'm sure they have been. There was a guy out of DC named Wayne Perry who was bisexual. He was a gangster, biggest killer in DC. I just read about him. I wouldn't play him because there's a scene where one guy walks in and sees him having sex with a man, and I'm not doing it. But they may come and say, man, but we needed a guy that's rough and tough and can play those rough and tough roles. I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's just me, So I don't necessarily, when I read something I don't like it, I don't give it a second thought. Just say I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I heard about that, man. I seen an interview with Sean Branch where, he told a story about how he walked in on Wayne Perry with a man. So, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. But he's one of the biggest killers in DC. It don't line up for me, but I can't. I don't get into people's sexual life. Like I don't have a problem with people announcing that they come out. I think your personal, intimate sexual life is your personal business. It's like most people don't know my story because I haven't told my story. Some of it is not for the public. I put it in my book, and when you write a book, you can edit what you want to go in and what you don't want to go in. But even if I was gay, I wouldn't come out and just say, hey, hi, I'm Clifton, and just want to come out. That's your personal business. That's what I think. And whatever people think about that, I don't really care. I think your personal, intimate, sexual life is your personal business.
All of it. Your standards, your personal sexual life, your finances, all of it. If you don't want people to know, you don't say nothing about it. Me personally, I don't really care. I don't really care. And I don't really, I have cousins that's a part of the alphabet community. When I see them, I got a boy cousin and a girl cousin that I can think right off the top of my, two boy cousins, one of them passed away right off the top of my head. But when I see my girl cousin, I hug her tightly. When I see my little younger boy cousin, I shake his hand. We, don't nothing change because that's whatever you're. And when I was probably about, how old was I then? Because I was going to Marcus Foster. So I was probably 12, 13. One of the kids I went to school with was gay when I lived with my father. I'm trying to think now when I got back around my mother. There was a guy, but see, I had a close relationship with the guy who lived by my father because we were neighbors and we went to school together. And in fact, I had a close relationship with that person because we walked to school together. We were neighbors.
Not to be broadcast to the world.
Well, let me ask you this since we're on the topic. How you feel about actors and comedians who wear dresses or play female roles?
When you deal with comedians, you're dealing with guys that spoof stuff all the time. I've done spoofs. Like somebody saying, well, you was in the breaks, you had riding on the back of the scooter with my shirt tied up in a little like pedal pusher bond tied around my belly. It's a spoof. It was a spoof. I didn't kiss nobody. I was making fun. Like, don't be a menace while drinking juice in the hood. It's a spoof. Some people don't know the difference between reality and a spoof. It was a spoof. So some of those guys just do that just as a spoof. Now I done a couple of times. I did a play where I imitated Diana Ross. I imitate people, but it's not something I want to do a role on a TV series. It was a spoof. And
that's the thing. I believe in white girls. Didn't Terry Crews kiss Marlon? See, to me, spoof mean like what he said. Okay, they dress up like girls, but they're not doing no, man dressed like a girl with a man thing. Same thing with like Ving Rhames played in Holiday Heart, but I don't remember him being with a dude. Let me think. So it's Holiday Heart with Ving Rhames. It's Tu Wong Fu. I don't even remember Tu Wong Fu. All I remember about Tu Wong Fu is that John Leguizamo and Wesley Snipes was in. I don't even know who the other people was. I think it was 4 of them. White girls. Chappelle had a dress on Robin Hood Men in Tights. Kev Hart had a dress on Saturday Night Live. You have bosom buddies. But yeah, them being dressed like women versus doing stuff as if they are women. I don't remember off the top of my head anybody that did that. Maybe the Crying Games, but I don't remember what the Crying Games was about.
The difference between comedy and doing a spoof as opposed to playing a character where you're in a dress all day long, every day, and that's your character. I don't knock that. I think everybody has to make personal choices. And I think as a watching public, a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be in the entertainment business. It is really bizarre. And you have to make choices that are not always popular. But I'll do a spoof. I'm not sure I'd do a spoof now because the climate is just so crazy, but I've done a few spoofs. I think, and I think if a guy wants to wear a dress, if that's what he wants to do, I think, like you've seen Jamie Foxx play Shanae. Was it Martin that played Shanae? Jamie played the other lady. Yeah, it's Martin. I mean, that was a personal choice, and it's a comic, it's a comic stuff.
Oh yeah. And when Martin played Shanae, I remember him trying to kiss on I forget which one is a kid or play. I think he went on a date with Chris Rock because he was on a Love Connection. And then Jamie Foxx played Tawana. What was that her name? Or Wanda. Was it Wanda? I don't remember. But I've been seeing that. Flip Wilson played Geraldine. Milton Bro was in a dress. A lot of these people.
So I think you get a little bit of a pass when you're a comic, or you do spoofs like I do, because I do drama and comedy and I intersperse them,
Do you think Hollywood is trying to feminize Black actors?
Bro, you've been doing too much damn research. I personally think we got to be mindful of the images and sexual, trying to turn men more, less masculine. But we're in a different time now, bro. We're not in the time when I grew up when men were men. You shook hands, you ain't hug nobody and all that old nonsense. But I'm not gonna comment on that because that's something I think it's just a personal choice, man. I don't believe anybody can make anybody do that. I think you got to make a personal choice. And I also get when it's a spoof, but I think I don't know if it's a concerted effort. But we're in different times now. We in real different times now. So everything's a lot more fluid. And some people just go with the flow. I'm just a little different. I'm more, traditional and conservative, but some people just go with the flow and say, that's just part of my work. And I get it. I don't think Hollywood has a concerted effort to be any certain way. It's just a machine and we got to keep fighting against the stuff that's not fair. But I've made a lot of money in Hollywood. I am not here to bash Hollywood. Hollywood is just a microcosm of the regular world. And it's good and bad, but I'm not here to bash Hollywood. I think you got to know, like when I do lectures, I tell my students, know what you're going to do. Know what you're going to do. Know where you are mentally, spiritually, know where you are when it comes to your wellness, know where you are when it comes to your sexuality. And you make a personal choice. Nobody holds a gun to anybody's head to make them do anything. Maybe there's some coercion, maybe there's some grooming. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to make a personal choice. And a lot of times people make choices because they broke or they want to be famous or they have big egos and they want to tell their family they made it. But they don't say how they did it. It's a lot of different factors. So I don't think it's a concerted effort on Hollywood. At least that's my personal opinion.
Do you believe in a casting couch?
I don't believe in a casting couch. I don't believe in it.
The better question would have been, is there a casting couch? You don't have to believe in it, but Harvey Weinstein proves there was a casting couch. Guys that are unattractive tell on themselves all the time. They say, well, I don't look good. I got to make the money. I got to get in a position of power. Now they call that an abuse of power. But back then people would out loud say, I'm not good looking. And women like power. So their motivation is bad all the way across the board. So they get in positions of power to say, hey, if you want that role, do this. You want that money, do this. And then the choice is yours.
listen, there are a lot of beautiful women in this business and a lot of beautiful men, Black, white, Latino, Asian, a lot of beautiful women. Whatever your preference is, I don't really care, but I don't think you can block people. I think the problem with the casting couch is that if you don't do it, you ain't gonna do the role. I think that's really horrible to put on someone. Like, come in my office and have sex with me and then I'll give you the role. If you come in casting and you get the role on your own merit and you run into me at a restaurant and you wanna go out, and if I'm not married or if I'm whatever and I'm available, I think that can work. That works all the time in this business. But for me to say to you as a beautiful female, if you don't have sex with me on this couch right here, you ain't getting the role. And I think that's wrong.
Shout out to Clifton Powell. Let's see.
No matter what happens now, we've got some difficult days ahead. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life, So after I did that, they said, you know what, you're gonna be king and we're gonna work it out. Now, the reason I did that little clip is because I want young entertainers to understand that's just voice work. I took 4 years of speech classes, dialects, phonetics, but I also stayed up all night long and watched Eyes on the Prize. And I got a suit like Dr. King. I cut my mustache like Dr. King. And I went in and embodied the voice and the spirit of Dr. King. That's how I came from the back to the front. And it's preparation meets opportunity. So for all young actors, just do your work, train properly. I train in the Stanislavski system. That's what that is.
And I gotta ask you, next Friday, how did you get that role as Pinky?
Another interesting story. One of my partners.
I would have thought it was because he was in Menace to Society. And even if he playing the spoof of a pimp, he was in a movie that had those kind of tones. Gangster, pimp, rap, violence, gangs.
His name is Steve Ferrier, who's like my big brother mentor who walked me through this business since I was in high school. So he was doing the behind the scenes of something Ice Cube, I think a music video. And somehow Ice Cube asked him, Ice Cube was talking about Dead Presidents, the scene on the steps. And he said, man, who was that guy that played Cutter? He said, you mean Cuddy? He said, yeah, who was that? Who was the brother that played Cuddy? He was good. He said, oh, that's my buddy. His name is Clifton Powell. So when I came home, my ex-wife said, Mr. Ice called, Mr. Icy Hot Ice. I said, Ice Cube. She said, Mr. Ice Cube called for you. So I called the next day casting, and they wanted me to come in and read for Pinky, but they already had a white guy in mind for Pinky. But I got sick the day I was supposed to come in, I got the flu. So they put it off, and then I went in and met with Cube, and I was doing that scene in the record shop and it wasn't working. So after about me and Cube working together for like 40 minutes, I was just lost about what he wanted. So I said, a lot of times directors don't like to act it out for you. So I gave him the gun and he said, I'll blow your head smooth off. Now I did a movie called The Breaks, which was again a spoof. And I did a scene where I start talking and I jump around, holding the gun, I start jumping around. So I took the gun from Cube and I say, I blow your head smooth off. Oh, and I start turning, say it again. And he said, whoa, what did you just do? I said, I don't know. He said, do what you just did. And that's how we created that physical, the words were already there, but we created that physicalness of Pinky, of him saying it, jumping around, spinning around. All of that comes out of my improv work, but I borrowed it back from when I did it in The Breaks. So if you watch The Breaks, you'll see me point the gun, I'm gonna shoot you or you, and then he spins around with you, or I might shoot my damn self, and it's with Ronaldo Ray and Darius McCrary. It's funny as hell. And that just jumped in my head when the Cube was, because we were stuck and he was just about to say, okay, well, this ain't gonna work out. And that's how we got.
Some of these movies though, although they had people you like in them, they wasn't the best. If I'm remembering the breaks properly, it was a white kid that was a central star. Darius McCrary is the guy from Family Matters, I believe, the big brother. Let me see something right quick. Yeah. I remember this. The white guy is a central character. It looked like it was a TV series too. Review of the VH1 original movie The Breaks. Okay, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about this one. This one is why is it saying Shop? Well, The Breaks 1999 movie. Shop The Breaks. Yeah. So I don't know if it's this one or the one on VH1. I think it's this one though. Oh yeah, because there go Darius McCrary right there. Okay, yeah. Missing you.
Got Pinky.
So you ain't understand the character at first.
No, it was Ice Cube and I working together in the record shop. This is before I got on set, and I wasn't getting it. And I asked Cube to take the gun, and he did. He took the gun. He said, "I blow your head smooth off." And then the whole stuff that I did in the breaks jumped back. So I took the gun. I said, "I blow your head smooth off," and then I started jumping around and putting the physical to it. And then we locked it in, and then we went and shot it. And then when I came back for Friday After Next, I just walked in. I said, "Merry Christmas, everybody." He said, "Whoa, cut." He said, "Cliff, you gotta start jumping around, bro." I said, "I gotta jump around in the next one too." He said, "Yeah, man, that's Pinky." And that's how we got it. Hopefully Cube the next Friday. Y'all make sure Cube put Pinky in the next Friday he's doing. I ain't gonna ask for a whole lot of money, Chris. I mean, Cube, I'm gonna ask for a little bit, but I'm not crazy money. Cube's my guy. Shout out to Cube and honor to Cube and putting me in next Friday. And it's been lovely. It's been wonderful. People love. I never thought Pinky would become a household name, but people don't even call me Cliff anymore. It's just, "Hey, Pinky."
How much you got paid for next Friday and Friday After Next?
I got paid okay. You know, you get paid better as you move up. So like I said, the next one, hopefully, you know, we get a bigger payday. But, you know, I would love to work with Cube again, you know, and Ice and Epps, Mike Epps and Money Mike and everybody.
You think Chris Tucker gonna be in the next Friday? Or do you think he's too big at this point?
No, I think everybody loves Friday. Be a great opportunity to bring all of us back together, do a memorial to Pops and some of the actors who have passed away, like Lil Ezell and my man Tiny Lister, you know. But
yeah. So Ezell was AJ Johnson. Debo is Tiny Liston. John Witherspoon. Who all gone? Ezell. John Witherspoon. I think the midget passed away too. What was his name that was in Bad Santa? But you still got Faison, you still got Chris Tucker, you still got Mike Epps, you still got Cube. You still got Terry Crews. Yeah, you still got enough people to do something. And some new people that could join on.
I think we all want to be. I know. If I could tell Chris, I'd say, "Come, let's do it." You know. So you know, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be up to Cube and his people.
So you believe it still can be a good movie with all the actors that passed away?
Oh yeah. Cube is brilliant, man. He's funny, and of course he's gonna do a tribute, and it's a cult classic. I mean, man, I've seen white people love Indian. I was at the casino one time. This Indian guy, oh my God, you are Pinky. I said, excuse me? He said, you are Pinky. I said, yeah. He said, oh my God, no. I said, yes. And then I was in Mississippi and some rednecks were like, and who was that right there? I said, excuse me? He said, what's your name, man? I said, Clifton Powell. He said, no, man, that ain't your name. I said, yeah, it's Clifton Powell. He said, you Pinky. I said, okay. I'm some rednecks, dude. I'm talking about some real rednecks. I said, hey, man, that's Pinky right there. I like, man, I love that movie, man. That movie transcends race, bro. I'm telling you. It's really funny. It's amazing. Redneck guy say, hey, man, that's Pinky right there. That's I know your name's Clifton Powell, but I'm going to call you Pinky. Not Pinky, Pinky. These are real stories, y'all. This really happened. I mean, he's all making that up. No, this is real stuff that's happened to me over the last 46 years.
I can believe that because what movie have we made they haven't made fun of? They didn't talk about it. You name it. Dead presidents, A Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. You get into argument with somebody, they bring up all that.
I haven't had another job in 46 years, bro. I used to be a counselor. I was broke for 20 years. I have a lot of relationships. I just did a movie called Blowback. The guy met me, called one of my buddies who's a buddy of his, and the guy, they pay me handsomely.
Told you, systems, relationships. Somebody you know is going to give you a hand up. That's what I thought the manager was going to be like. But it's not really. And people would mock that. They'll go, you friends with such and such, so you should have blah, 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 blah. Come on, man. Everybody their own individual person.
And I do it. If I like it, I do it. And if I don't like it, I don't do it. I don't necessarily just take it for the money. You know, a lot of times when you're struggling and then you finally make it and some of your people that got their people, you got to go in, man. You know, and go in and get 10,000 for 2 days or I get 10,000 a day. You know, that's good money. You know, and I'm not Denzel Washington. I still make a lot of money, but I'm not Denzel Washington. I made it to the middle. The middle is a great place to be, but to make it to the top is a whole lot of other stuff that I'm not going to discuss on here. It comes with that I'm not willing to do. So I'm healthy, happy.
Man. 10,000 a day for 2 days, 20,000 for a movie, 2 days on a movie. That's a month taken care of. Now it's about consistent work. How much can I get for walk-ins? How much can I get for being on podcasts? I'm trying to make it all work like I do right now. Thumbnails, songs, intros. You know, try to have these discussions. Well, no, what exactly do you talk? I don't really talk about relationship like that. I'll look at somebody else's relationship show and talk about it because it's just not that complicated. If y'all want to be together, y'all gonna do whatever it takes to be together. Anytime somebody want to be somewhere, they know how to get there. If they not showing up, it ain't meant to be. And then on the gender stuff, it's a whole lot because I'm hearing a dude say, you got to be a boss. You got to be able to lead her. Don't go in there being no partner. Partners for the alphabet community. And my marriage was a very democratic or diplomatic, either one. I wasn't trying to be the boss because I'm 24, she's 22. But we together before then. At that time, 24, we got married when I was 24 and she was 22. I came home when I was 23 and she was 21. We had the baby when I was 22 and she was 20. Yeah, because we had the baby October of 22. And I came home August of 93. So my baby's like 10 months old.
And healthy in the middle. If I don't leave my house, I'll make 150,000 just from my pension, my wealth, my residuals, and my Social Security. So I'm good. I made it. I'm not bragging. I'm blessed. But I have a guy named Keith Neal that's in the middle, and he handles all the independent stuff. I never want to get to a place where my people can't reach me. And so I keep him in the middle. And then some stuff my agent.
Listen, the middle is beautiful. If a person can make 10,000 a month, that should take care of your basics. You doing something, and you should be able to save a couple dollars. That over time you can invest that, and then make your investments be investments. I mean, it is what it is. Start early, making them sacrifices. Live below your means, and then over time, build. So when you get into this age, the people that did it right can retire at my age. They don't have to do nothing else. They can do like he said. He got the savings. He got his Social Security. He taken care of. And if you get a job on top of that, that's icing on the cake.
Brings sometimes stuff my manager brings. I pay sometimes out 30%. My manager gets something. Keith will get something, or my agent will get something. I move, and I have so many relationships. So some people who helped you when you were young and starting out, like Ruben Cannon. Ruben calls me and it's not no crazy role, I'm gonna do it. Because Ruben is my guy. I say, hey, Clip, I only got, 20,000 for the week. I charge 50,000 a week. But if it's Ruben, I'll do it, because Ruben hired me when I had nothing. So I'm just one of those kind of guys, and I don't let my agents tell me what I'm gonna do. That's just me. And I keep a street cat in the middle, because when you get to the top, people can't reach you. And I'm gonna tell you what Jamie Foxx said to me. He may not remember. He said, Cliff Powell, keep 1 foot in NIGGA. Now y'all figure that out. That means keep 1 foot with your people. And I'm always gonna be with the people, because African Americans and young white kids and young Asians and Latinos and women have made me a household name. I am a working actor. I'm a character actor. I'm not a movie star. Movie stars open movies. I don't open movies. I made it to the middle. The top is another whole set of stuff that you got to deal with on every level that I'm not willing to do. So, and they don't let strong Kunta Kinte like me get to the top. It just doesn't happen without some compromise. And I'm not willing to do that, but I never knew that. I just did the work, and I have great relationships, and I keep a cat in the middle so that if you can't get to my agents, because a lot of times when you get on my level, they can't get to you. And by the time your agent gets it, if it's not a certain amount of money, they're not going to do it. I lost a movie, and I give honor to my man, Will Packer. I did a movie when Will first started called The Gospel. Got 30,000 for the week. My agent at the time, and I'll say his name is Jeff Witches at APA. He called me and said, you're doing another one of those little black movies. I said, you're damn right. I got a family to feed, and I hung up the telephone on his ass, and then they let me go. What people don't understand is that when you with APA and above, APA, Innovative, ICM, William Morris, you got to bring in $500 to $1 million a year just to stay there. It's all money. And they can't make money if you don't cross over. Well, I've crossed over just a bit, but not necessarily. I'm like the OJs. But black people are worth $1.6 trillion. The middle is a good place. And he hung up the phone. And then Will Packer just hired me in Fight Night, the #1 movie in Peacock history. I just got my first residual check. It was more than 25,000. So Will Packer put me in that movie. Will Packer called me again. I'm going to work with Will Packer.
And you know what's crazy? I thought Clifton Powell was a bigger star than that. So if he talking about 30,000 we say for the week, because he usually charged 10,000 a day. That is good money. Shit, I'll be like, if I could make 100 a day off of YouTube, that's 3,000 a month. This being a short month, 2,800. That's good money. And I know there's people on YouTube that make maybe 10,000 a day. Cause what is Tasha K and 85 South and 5150? They got to be making that. And Corey only come up on Tuesday. If it's 11,000 in the chat and he can get 10% of that to send in $10, $20, that's 10,000 on Tuesday. 11,000, 19,000 people watching. 10% of that is 2,000, 1,000. If it's $2, it's 2,000 for the Tuesday.
If my agents don't like it, I'm still going to do it. So people don't understand the inner workings of this business. When you with APA and above, they're ready for you to cross over. That's why Motown crossed Diana and all of them. First they was at the Apollo, then you got them at the big white clubs because they try to cross you over. You know, but there's money in the black neighborhoods too, in the Latino and the Asian community. And that's where I kind of landed. And I don't have no problems with it. I do well. I never thought in 1993, when I really started working, that I would make any money. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. Can I get another water?
I mean, 50K a week is pretty good, man.
But sometimes I don't charge that. I'm getting ready to go do a movie in DC, and I didn't charge 50,000 because I have a great relationship with the producer. So it's just, you know, part of the reason why I have somebody in the middle is because when you get to a certain level, you're not connected to your people. And I don't never want to not be connected to black people. I love everybody, but I want to love my people first. That's normal. That's just how I am. I don't know about it.
That's what I'm talking about. The people that give me the most money on this joint when I was getting some money was black folks. Who else might? Oh, and hear me out. Hear me out. Been here since the beginning. But other than that, black folks. I got I believe a PayPal from 10th Man. I got $5 from David Bildo. Flo just shot me a couple dollars. Shout out to Flow State. Yeah, I get all my money from my people. And all these cats be saying I be on here red pilling or manosphere, which I don't think I do. I get a couple dollars from some women, but mostly the brothers. That's what my analytics say.
Anybody else. And I get a lot of flack. I mean, he's in every little ass movie. I don't really care what people think. I know what the relationships are. And then a lot of times I meet young guys like a guy like this guy, or a young guy like you trying to do your first movie when you got to have a name, but you can't afford Denzel and you can't afford Lorenz. But you know, you come through one of my partners who held me down when I had nothing. I didn't have a plan. Maybe if I had a better plan, I would pick and choose.
But that's crazy to hear. If you go through one of these agents, he just said, and you got $20,000, $30,000, you got Clifton Powell in the movie. That's a pretty big deal. I think Clifton Powell is still cachet. I think most of the people are. Clifton Powell, Mike Epps. But see, Mike Epps been in big series and stuff, and let me see, some pretty big films. But like Pierre, let me see who we see that be in these little movies, but they're recognizable. Definitely Clifton Powell. I wonder how much, because I just got through watching a whole rapper movie. It had D Shot, B Legit, E40, and then a couple of women actresses. I don't know their name, but if you saw them, you would recognize them. Like, yeah, I wonder how much Nia Long or Megan Good or Kelly Rowland or one of them would charge you for a film. You know, just a big enough name.
But if I like it, I do it. I don't need an agent to tell me what to do. I read the script. I have the final say on all the deals. That's just what I do. And it happened by happenstance. Keith Neal, who's now a producer at Swirl Films, one of the biggest producers over there, he started out as security, and people start calling, trying to book me for jobs. And I'm like, how much they paying? They say, well, they gave me $20,000 for the week. I like, where? I'm going back. Let's go back to Detroit and get it. I like.
Yeah, talk about it, brother. We had the 2 hour mark. I'll be back, y'all. We're gonna do this here. We're gonna take a little break, clean up a little bit of something, but like we always do at this time.
We'll shut this motherfucker down!
That's all, folks.